This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
I can't forget you. I've got these memories.
Place to Be Nation Pop Experience. Welcome to today's edition of the Movie Review of the Day. I'm Andy Atherton, back here with you, bringing you another fun movie review. This movie is fairly recent, came out late last year, going back to not that long, to 2025. Didn't have a big run in theaters. I believe it was an Apple produced through A24 through Apple produced, so it had a short run in the theater, and it ended up on Apple TV Plus fairly quickly after that. It is Eternity. This movie stars, let me get that up, Miles Teller, Elizabeth Olsen, Callum Turner, John Early, Olga Merides, and Da'Vine Joy Randolph. So the log line for this movie is, in an afterlife where souls have 1 week to decide where to spend eternity, Joan is faced with the impossible choice between the man she spent her life with and her first love, who died young and has waited decades for her to arrive. So I really enjoyed this movie. This movie, is very well acted. Love Da'Vine Joy Randolph. She's kind of, not that she's come out of nowhere, but really like her. She was in, I think that she was in a movie that I think was it The Leftovers, The Holdovers? It was that she won I believe she won the Oscar for that movie. She was really good in that movie. Actually, I'm gonna confirm that. So let's see. So she won Best Supporting Actress for The Holdovers. That's right. So I was close. It was not long ago that movie came out. So I really did like this movie. I've liked Miles Teller. Callum Turner, I had not known for that long his work. He was really good in Masters of the Air, which was on Apple as well. Elizabeth Olsen, she is I just adore her. She is so good in everything she does. And I thought, John Early and Olga Merides, they rounded out a very fun little cast here. So, and I'm going to go spoilers in this one right away. So if you haven't seen Eternity and you don't want to get spoiled, pause it, go watch it, come back and listen to me. If you don't care, you don't feel like, you're not worried about getting spoiled, then, proceed at your own risk. So this movie is interesting because it's like she had two loves, really. So she had her first love, who he dies in the Korean War. And then when he gets to the afterlife, it's like almost like a train terminal, like Grand Central kind of. And, people are given a week. So that's like, it kind of looks like Disney's Contemporary Resort if you've ever been there. And everybody has a room and they, and they have to stay there and they have to try to figure out. Now, very often, I don't think this has happened before, where they have two people wanting to spend their eternities with them. So, they basically both try to win her over, and they have, almost like a one-upping each other and what have you. And, yes. And the thing about this too, is like, you end up in this afterlife at the age you were happy. So they're young in this one. I mean, look, Luke dies young, so he doesn't really age. And, Joan and Larry, they were both old. Larry, Joan had terminal cancer, but Larry ends up dying first because he chokes on a pretzel at a party. And then Joan dies later. And Larry ends up waiting. Luke, in order to stay in this station, had to take a job. So he was working as a bartender and waiting for Joan to die, basically. All these decades, 60 years, basically. And, it's interesting, though, because it's like she built this whole thing with Larry. They love each other. They annoy each other. They know each other. Are so familiar. But this was like exciting young love. And the whole movie is her going back and forth. And there's all these rules they have to follow, of course, because of, of the afterlife. And, if you leave your eternity, okay, first of all, your decisions are final. So if you All right, so wait, here's the thing. Anna tells everybody that they're She's an afterlife coordinator, so that's Da'Vine Joy Randolph. So she tells everybody, or whoever your afterlife coordinator is, you have an eternity designed for you, but you each have a unique theme, but all decisions are final, and attempting to escape will result in banishment to the void, a place of infinite darkness. So you're basically sitting there in nothingness forever, for eternity, and that's not a place I want to go. So Larry decides to wait for the arrival of Joan there in the junction. That's what it's called. So then she arrives, and then they both are there, her two loves, and she needs to figure it out. And she actually confides in her recently deceased friend Karen, while Larry and leans on Anna for help. But because of the special circumstances, Joan is granted permission to sample two eternities, one with Larry, one with Luke, before making her final decision. And there's an archives, a building in each eternity that shows moments of an individual's life. You can go in there and watch your love story. But Luke and Joan watch their love story, Luke becomes upset when he sees that Larry proposed to Joan at the dock, where he said goodbye to Joan before heading off to war. And then Joan then visits a beach-inspired eternity with Larry, who refuses to enter the archives to revisit their life together. Despite having happy times, happy dates with both husbands, she struggles with her decision. And it's a lot of back and forth, and you really feel for Joan in this. I mean, if it was me, it's like, yes, your first love, you'll never forget them, and you had a special time with them, but she had a whole life with Larry. And that's kind of how it ends up playing out. She ends up picking Luke, and Larry decides to be the bigger man here. Because Larry picks up on things. He's not a selfish person. He may come off that way at times, but he's not selfish. And he realizes when he sees that Joan's wearing her hair long, something she only did during her first marriage to Luke, believing that meant that was when she was happiness. And he just wants her. Look, if you really love someone, you just want them to be happy. If it's not with you, look, that's the breaks. And he tells her to spend eternity with Luke. Anna tells him that Anna ends up telling Larry that she never picked an eternity because she found herself happiest helping others. So, and her passion had decreased, but she thanks Larry for helping renew it. So Larry ends up taking over the bartender job that Luke had. And Joan and Luke begin their eternity. Joan becomes dissatisfied and frequents the archives to relive her memories with Larry. She realized all the little moments in life with Larry matter more to her than when the young love she free of hardship and loss that she had with Luke. So then, of course, the void comes into play because she decides that she wants to spend eternity there with Larry. Luke attempts to dissuade her, ultimately fearing that she'll be lost to the void. They find closure and together mourn the lives they never had together. Luke then acts as a decoy, allowing Joan to pass through the archives to exit that eternity. She's confronted by troubled memories of her own past before finding her way back to the junction. At the junction, she enlists the help of Ryan, who is the other afterlife coordinator, and Anna to help to hide her and find Larry. They discover that Larry did remain there, taking up the bartending job, foregoing an eternity without Joan. Larry and Joan reunite and enter a discontinued eternity reminiscent of their early life. So it's one of those, like, you didn't need to see in the theater. I saw it in the theater because I have the AMC stubs list. A-list, whatever it's called, and it dropped on Apple not that long after. This is like a nice movie you can watch at home. I mean, yeah, it does make you kind of question things and think back on your own life. But if you're older, like I am, you think back, all the loves that you lost, the things that didn't work, the decisions you could have made that would have changed. What would happen if you got to the afterlife and you saw all these people and you could make a change? You could. That one that got away, you could spend eternity with. Who knows? I just hope that my two dogs come running up to me, Abercrombie and Toby, that and my cat Tilly's. That's to me the ideal afterlife. Me and my boys. So, all right. So I hope I didn't spoil it if you haven't seen it. If I interest you, if you haven't seen it, give it a shot. It's not that long, movie, and it's got some really cool visuals. They do a really good job in this movie. I really did enjoy it. It's a nice. It's like a little. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those like it was a pleasant viewing experience. Okay, so we got one more coming at you, and then we'll talk about our next theme week. So hope you guys are having a good week, and please continue to check out everything else we got going on here on the Police Nation Experience. And we will see you later.
I'd arrange for every girl to have your charm. Then every minute, every hour, every boy would